It's the Rob Bro Show. Welcome in. I am the host. You are the co-host. You can co-host today by commenting on the Starting Line chat line. You can also head over to startinglinecounseling.com for a free 15-minute consultation. Chase is the man. He's a two-time graduate of Texas Tech and a wealth of knowledge, 10 years of experience doing what he's doing in the counseling world. You can get a free 15-minute consultation at startinglinecounseling.com. All right. And some big news coming, by the way, from Chase and the boys, the company over there. I think it's just him. I don't think there are boys, but big news coming. I'll let him tell you. We'll get him on soon. I think we really should get him on for the indoor track and field season.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. In fact, last year was one of my favorite shows.
All right, let's get right into it. Let's just drop in. Toes first. Nope, head first. Into the basketball world. I'm going to start
baseball world.
Did I say basketball? Actually, let's start with the basketball world because you haven't talked about it. I talked about it.
Right.
Just hammered Kansas by 29. The second time you've done that at the USA. The second time with a whiteout, I believe. Beautiful scenes. Bill Self gets tossed. Hunter Dickinson was asked after the game, how'd they play you like that? And he just basically said, well, we're Kansas. Everybody tries to play us like that. Well, you got your butt kicked. Nobody else does that quite like Texas Tech did. But I will say this. I think they have 5 losses now in Big 12 play. Bill Self has been the coach for 22 seasons. If they lose another game, it'll be their third time losing 6 conference games in 22 seasons, which is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I think Roy Williams might have done it once or twice. So in the last 35 seasons or more, they've had this bad a record, and probably never this early. I mean, this is one of the most beaten Kansas teams in Big 12 conference play that we've ever seen. If they lose 2 more, Carson, it's their worst season since what's the guy's name? I looked it up last night. I don't have it in front of me. Ted Owens, and like the
before I mean, that was
and that's just a couple of more losses, and I think 10 conference losses was their worst ever. Of course, that's back in the Big 8. They've never done it in the Big 12. I don't think they've lost more than 6 in the Big 12 era.
That was in 2019. They lost 6,
and that's just one more loss. They've done it a couple times. But that's just one more loss that they can survive before it's the worst Big 12 season ever for Kansas, and they're 6th in the country. and wonderful in KenPom. Now they're injured, they're down, they're out. Missing Kevin McCullough. DeJuan Harris played, but didn't really play well.
He hasn't played well even when he was healthy the last couple weeks, though.
Kevin McCullough is not a 29-point swing, though.
No.
In that game, when Kerwin Walton, by the way, the best shooter in America. So
especially in the Big 12.
Knock on wood, 52%.
Yeah.
Completion percentage from behind the 3-point arc. Incredible.
Is that good, Rob?
That's really good. That's like Davide Moretti peak.
Yeah.
And I believe Davide was a 50% shooter. So better than Davide that national championship season.
Yeah.
And that's for a full season, not just Big 12 play.
Right.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
But what are your thoughts on the game and the absolute ass-kicking family show? Sorry for cussing. That was displayed on Monday night.
I mean, from the jump, really, it looked like Texas Tech had more want to, more, feel sense of urgency to win that game, because that was a big one for both of these teams, right? We talked about it on Monday in the show, is that one was huge because whoever won is going to be still at the top of the Big 12 race. You're sitting there in second place, tied for second, really, with 2 teams tied for first right now. And whoever lost was going to get that 5th loss, which is big. That pretty much, and we talked about it, I think the Big 12 champion could possibly have 5 or 6 losses this year. I don't think we're gonna have a 3-loss Big 12 champ. I don't see Iowa State or Houston both going and just running the table. Someone's gonna stub their toe another time, at least another couple times, probably. So that 5th loss is huge because then it makes it to where everything else is a need to win if you want to win the Big 12. And obviously, we've talked about it. You have to hold serve at home. Texas Tech did not play well against Cincinnati at home. We figured out why, because everybody had the flu, but that's still not a good excuse to lose a game at home anytime. It doesn't matter. Darian Williams was just phenomenal. I mean, there's nothing else you can say about it. He was perfect. I don't know that we'll ever see another guy be that good in a long, long time here on the South Plains. Darian Williams had one of the best nights that you'll ever see. And if you watch the game or if you were at the game, then you get to witness history because he was the first guy in a long time to do it.
Ever.
And I don't know if he was the second guy ever in the Big 12 to do it. So ever in this conference is history.
First to go 12 for 12.
First to go 12 for 12, right.
Not
the second to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second to be perfect in this conference. And that's a rich history in this conference. You're talking about a lot of very, very talented basketball players in this conference. And, I think he is
to go perfect with more than 10 shots.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know who did it last for Texas Tech with 9 for 9?
Oh man, tell me the year, and I may have a guess.
Oh, it was the 90s. I don't or early 2000s. I don't remember exactly when he played. I can
Andre Emmett, maybe.
Let me give you a better time frame.
Okay.
No, it's off the wall. It's not.
So I probably won't get it.
No.
If it's off the wall.
He went 9 for 9.
And it's not like Darian Williams did it all in the paint either. He did it from 3.
He shot 3 threes.
Yeah.
Is a 6'10" forward.
6'10" forward.
Oh, he played way later than I thought. 2010, 2011.
Okay. This is still
not Jay Crockett.
This was still Pat Knight era.
Yeah, maybe his last season. Yeah.
Ugh. No wonder nobody knows.
It's not John Robertson. It was not Mike Singletary.
6'10", not Robert Lewandowski.
Robert Lewandowski.
Is it? Yeah. Yes. There we go. Okay. The big guy. Yeah.
He went 9 for 9. I'd have to go do a little more research in which.
Probably all in the paint, I would assume.
Oh, yeah. I would assume.
Robert Lewandowski.
Oh, they don't have career stats for Robert Lewandowski on the roster here. I'd have to go find it.
But yeah, I mean, Darian Williams had an absolute night. It just was a good old fashioned Texas butt kicking. I mean, that's what it was. That's what it came down to. I saw a bunch of Kansas people jumping in on Twitter and in the feeds and all that stuff, giving excuses of, well, our whole roster didn't play. It would have been a lot different if McCullough plays. Well, McCullough didn't play against Baylor on Saturday, and you beat Baylor.
Yeah.
So that's the same team that beat Baylor, and then you came to Lubbock and just got boat raced. So you can't make an excuse for why you were bad in Lubbock.
Yeah.
You just got kicked by the better team on Monday night. That's what it was. Texas Tech was the better team. Kansas at the end kind of gave up a little bit. Bill Self definitely gave up. He was like, "Screw this, I'm out." It didn't matter what it was going to be. Bill Self was going to get ran from that game. And I'm pretty sure he told the official, "Hey man, just let me get out of here."
Yeah. That's the first time in his career at Texas.
Yeah, which is crazy to think.
First time at Kansas to get run.
Yeah.
Which
is nuts because he's been there for so long.
When he gives it, he gives the business.
Yeah, and he gets after him. So, and he got after him, and you knew as soon as I knew he got the first one, and then they kept showing him, and his assistants were trying to pull him back, and he just kept staying out there. I was like, yeah, he's gone. He doesn't want to be here. And I don't blame him. I mean, I wouldn't want to watch that either. My team's getting their rear ends kicked. I'll go sit in the locker room, watch some more games. I don't want to watch this one anymore. His guys have pretty much given up. I mean, Dickinson was not good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is Dickinson shooting better than 2 for 10 if Kevin McCullough's out there?
No.
I mean, because he was awful.
No.
even if McCullough drops 30, that replaces, 10 to 15 other possessions that Kansas had. Are they all misses? Do they go from incredibly inefficient to incredibly efficient just because Kevin McCullough's out there? That
Yeah.
hasn't been the case this season, though.
Well,
He's
and
been very
McCullough's not
good.
going to score 30.
Yeah, he averaged 20 for a long time this season.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
crazy. 30.
I think he's still averaging 20 because he hadn't played. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know that McCullough makes a 30-point difference in the score. I think Texas Tech probably still wins by 15 or 18, somewhere, maybe even 20 if McCullough plays. Like, I don't think he makes that big of a difference. He may make a 9-point difference, but and obviously you play differently on the offensive end because McCullough's such a good defender. But I don't know if Darian Williams goes perfect because McCullough's probably guarding him. And the length of a McCullough probably alters a shot here and there. But yeah, he wouldn't have made that big of a difference. Texas Tech was the better team on Monday, and that's how this conference works, right? Like, all you got to do is be the better team on the floor that night, because it doesn't matter who the better team is overall right now. Every single night, the better team can be anybody on any given night in this conference. We've seen it all throughout the year, right? Like, this conference is maybe the most what's the word I'm looking for? Uneven, like most even we've ever seen this conference from top to bottom.
Yep.
Just there's no off nights. There's absolutely no off nights. It's not like going to the SEC where you can go to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's not very good. You can go to Vanderbilt and you know you're going to win, or they come into town, you know you're going to win. Or
Vanderbilt beat A&M this week.
Yeah, Vanderbilt did beat A&M this weekend. Which A&M, I've watched A&M. They're not great either. I watched A&M against Tennessee. They played well against Tennessee at Reed Arena, but and then there's Big Ten fans in Twitter columns and on ESPN's post of Texas Tech blowing out Kansas, and they're like, well, how can the Big 12 be the best league when the number 6 team in the country, they're the top ranked team from the Big 12, they're getting beat by 30 on the road? Like, that's just how this conference works, man. Like, that's just how it works. And like, the 30-point win is big, but we've talked about it in this conference. If you win by 1 or you win by 50, it doesn't matter. Wins are wins in this conference. Losses are losses. It's not a bad loss for Kansas. It's a great win for Texas Tech.
Yeah. It kind of is a bad loss because it was by 29, but
right. But the RPI won't care. That's what I'm saying.
No.
When you get to March, the RPI won't care about that. The
exactly.
net rankings don't care that you lost by 30 to Texas Tech. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to Big 12 baseball. I'm going to start with the conference outlook because I want to look at the Big 12 preseason poll. With 11 first place votes, TCU locked in. This is a coaches poll, it seems like, with only 13 votes. Up next, Texas with 2, not the media poll that other sports do. So TCU with 11 votes, number 1. Texas, 12 total votes behind at number 2. Oklahoma State with 119 total votes at 3rd. Texas Tech at 107 votes at 4. Have you seen the list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you could guess. Sorry, I got you mid-drink. You could guess the next couple because they were surprising to me. Kansas State at 5.
Kansas State's got a good squad coming into the year.
I just, they were decent last year, and they probably were better than they've been in a long time last year.
They took 2 out of 3 from Texas Tech.
They certainly did. I guess they think that's going to, float over. Oklahoma and West Virginia tied for 6th, and then Kansas, Houston, UCF, Baylor, no surprise. BYU tied for 12th, Cincinnati tied for 12th. I wonder if that's just who are these teams,
Yeah.
Kind of
well,
thing.
And BYU and Cincinnati haven't been good in their respective conferences lately either. No. So, and you're moving into a better baseball conference than what you were playing in. You're at the bottom of those conferences. So obviously you're going to be in the bottom of this one. Watch out. Houston has a, they're a club that is regional years all over the board. they're always a postseason favorite, especially out of the American most years. So Houston being at the bottom of this conference doesn't say a whole. The baseball conference got better by adding Houston into it. Now next year the baseball conference is going to be stupid good with Arizona and Arizona State coming into it, which is just going to boost things. You're going to lose Texas and Oklahoma, but gain Arizona and Arizona State's pedigree as well in baseball, which Arizona's won a national championship more recently than anybody else in the Big 12.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the way that this conference slate lines up, Texas Tech to be in the top 3 is good for me. I would say that they're a top 5 team coming in. I think Kansas State's going to surprise a lot of people this year. I think they really have a shot to win the Big 12. It depends on how they pitch it on Friday and Saturday. And then Randy Mazey's going to reload. He's such a phenomenal head coach at West Virginia. You just don't think of West Virginia as a baseball school, but Randy Mazey's done a great job at West Virginia.
I almost want to say that West Virginia is like every other year, though. Can they go back to back?
That's true.
Can they go back to back? Tied for 6 here?
Because he's a guy that brings in a bunch of JUCO guys, and so that's why you're every other year type of program. So we'll see.
I'm blanking. Who was the pitcher last year that just mowed everybody down?
Oh, the guy with the do-rag? Texas Tech lit him up. Yeah, I can't remember. Off the top of my head.
Do-rag.
The
fathlete?
Yeah, the big guy. Yeah, he wore a bandana on his hat, under his hat.
Right. That's right. So it's every once in a while he gets one of those pitchers that mows everybody down, like Alek Manoah.
Yeah.
And then last year the guy, I don't remember his name, but
I can't remember.
Pretty impressive that they do that. All right. By the way, Alek Manoah has just fallen off in the actual world there.
Yep.
All right, going to the preseason Big 12 team. Texas Tech only gets 1 on the preseason team and no preseason newcomer freshman pitcher player of the years. I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. J.J. Weatherholt, West Virginia, player of the year preseason. He was very close to being the player of the year last year if he wasn't hurt for a couple of weeks there in the middle of it. Preseason pitcher of the year, LeBaron Johnson Jr. from Texas. Newcomer of the year, Peyton Toll from TCU. And freshman of the year, Will Gasparino from Texas. I like flowing in under the radar. I think in the years past, Texas Tech has been 2 on the radar. That might have hurt a little bit. I'm going to read the preseason All Big 12 team too. Of course, only one Texas Tech player, Gavin Cash, the first baseman. Otherwise, it's Carson Bowen, TCU, the catcher. Very good. Cody Shojingnaga from Kansas. Kalen Culpepper from Kansas State. Anthony Silva, TCU. Probably the best shortstop in the Big 12. I think he played some outfield last year too, if I'm not mistaken. Gavin Cash, obviously J.J. Weatherholt, second baseman. I think he's playing shortstop this year. Bryce Madron, Oklahoma. Nolan Schubart, Oklahoma State. Porter Brown, Texas, I believe. Porter Brown Jr. at some point in his career, but now he's just Porter Brown. You know, I didn't think he was ever very good, but year 6 or 7 here in the Big 12, I guess he's
yeah. When you're a guy that's been there long enough, you're going to be on an all conference.
Started his career at TCU, I believe, and now he's at
TCU.
Texas. And maybe he just hasn't had much success against Texas Tech.
He started his career at TCU with Jim Schlossnagle, and then whenever Schloss went to Texas A&M, he transferred.
That's kind of how I grade players if they were good against Texas Tech, because that's mostly what I watch in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Jansen Reeder, Carson Benj, the Oklahoma State utility player, which basically means DH, I guess, but they already put Jansen Reeder at DH, but Benj bashes.
Benj can play first and outfield.
Owen Barma from Kansas State, Cole Klecker from TCU, Peyton Toll from TCU, both pitchers, and Ben Abelt, the weird sidestepper. Tyson Neighbors from Kansas State and LeBaron Johnson Jr. from Texas are the starting pitchers. There's 6 starting pitchers, a couple of relievers. Ben Abelt's the reliever, the rubber arm, who pitched 1 billion innings.
A ton of innings.
Last several weeks of the season. He rose to fame there at the College World Series with his stance. kind of stand sideways and step sideways and throw straight. It's crazy. But that's what it is. All right, that's what you're looking at. I feel like you are appropriately rated in most preseason polls from, I think the highest was 19, 17 to 25. You're in the top 25 in most polls.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for Texas Tech, it's going to come down to, and I think a lot of the questions are what you're going to have on the mound, because you lose your number one starter, obviously, from last year, and Mason Molina. He's now at Arkansas, and you'll probably see him maybe in a midweek. They might throw Mason Molina against you when you travel to Baum Stadium, which I wish I could go to that game. Those two games in the middle of the week, Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe it is, on that series. But yeah, you don't really know what you're going to have on your Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You don't know what that's going to look like. You know some of the names that's going to look like, but I think that's where it comes down for Texas Tech, and that's where the uncertainty comes into play for this ball club. It's not so much the lineup that you're uncertain about, because you have Bazell and Cash and Tracer Lopez who can play. Will Burns has played quite a bit. Washburn's healthy again. So Gage Harrelson in center field. So you've got some guys back and pieces of that puzzle from last year that you were one win away from going to a super regional again. And you were in one of the toughest places to win, which is in Gainesville, Florida, against a very talented Florida team. You were the best. You're the only team to beat Florida in the postseason until the College World Series finals last season. So that's how good Florida was, and that's how close you were as a Texas Tech ball club to getting to the super regionals, giving yourself a chance to go back to Omaha. And really, and we've seen it over the years, it comes down to having a good pitching staff. You've got to have good Friday, Saturday, Sunday guys. And Sunday, I mean, you've got to have, maybe two guys that piece it together. And, because Friday, Saturday is probably going to look like Kyle Robinson and Zane Petty, however that wants to go.
We have an official announcement on who the third starter is this weekend.
Do we have one on this weekend? Yeah.
Jack Washburn.
Okay, Jack Washburn. Okay, yeah, Owen Washburn's little brother. He's a sophomore.
Is he?
Good arm. Is he a sophomore? Yeah. No, he's the transfer. He's the one that I think Owen might be younger than Jack, right? He transferred from Ole Miss. Jack did.
I think
but he had a torn.
At least 3-year players, though.
Yeah, he had a torn UCL, I believe, whenever he transferred from Ole Miss. So he had undergone some sort of surgery, and he was redshirting last year. So we'll see what we get from Jack Washburn. It'll be interesting to see. But, I mean, other guys in that role that you're looking at, I mean, you got Ryan Free, Trendon Parrish, who you can put in there. Rogers can be slotted into that spot too. So there's a lot of options. And then you have a kid that's a transfer in from Seminole State Junior College in Carson Ball, who's a big left-hander who started 10 games at Seminole State last year, and they went to the NJCAA World Series. So you've got some options at starting pitcher. Obviously, you don't have a lot of proven options at starting pitcher, but you've got options there. And then you've got to be better out of the bullpen. Last year, the bullpen was not very good at all most of the year. You have the stalwarts like a Brendan Lysick, who ended up being probably the top guy out of your bullpen last year. Trendon Parrish, before he got hurt, was pretty good. Josh Sanders is good out of the bullpen. He can ride the fastball up in the 90s. Tabor Fass is another left-hander out of the pen that you can expect to see a lot of this year. So, and there's a lot of new faces. There's a lot of freshman guys that have a chance if they're not redshirting to add into this. You got a 6'7" left-hander that's in the pen. I don't know how many innings he'll get. He's a big guy. So
Big Mac.
You've got some pieces in this pitching staff that I think you have the ability to be good. Now, the stuff is good, but you've got to pound the strikes on. This is a tough schedule that you're going to play. The Big 12 got even tougher. This year might be the toughest the Big 12 has been in a while in the baseball ranks, with just 1 through 7 or 8 really being quality ball clubs that you're going to see. So it's going to be a grind in the Big 12 baseball schedule. And obviously you can't put a lot of stock into what you see on weekend number 1 in this thing with Tennessee and all these other clubs that you're going to play this first weekend. But pitching wise is where I think it comes down to, obviously. And then offensively, I think you're pretty stacked up on the offense, and I'm pretty pumped to see what Pompey shows you. I think he might be your opening day shortstop, Rob. I really do.
Let's not get ahead of
think that-
ourselves. Hold on.
Yeah.
Just getting ahead of us here. All right, so that was you talked a lot about the pitching staff there. Some transfers in, a lot of guys returning, and a ton of true freshman arms on this
Ton
team.
of true freshman arms, yeah.
You have Isaiah Rhodes a transfer in. He's a fifth-year senior, first year at Tech. Trenton Parrish obviously has been here several seasons. Zane Petty, Jacob Rogers in their second season here at Texas Tech. Kyle Robinson in his third season at Texas Tech. Josh Sanders back. Jack Washburn, who is a fifth-year senior. His second year at Tech, but he didn't play last year because he was injured.
Yeah. Started at Ole Miss.
And then you have a bunch of lefties. You mentioned Carson Baugh. Brendan Lysick is back. Derek Bridges is back.
Yeah, Derek Bridges, another name that I forgot about.
Ryan Free, Zach Erdman, and then a couple of other guys who might not pitch much but can pitch. Cade McGee is listed as a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah. Well, and Cade McGee was a third baseman last year at Gonzaga, but he got hurt, couldn't play third, but he could pitch.
Yeah.
So
will likely be third baseman here at Texas Tech. But
he'll be your
That's just throwing a bunch of names at the wall here in the pitching staff, and then you also have some freshmen.
It's kind of what the pitching staff is, though. You just throw names at the wall and hope they stick. Like, that's college baseball pitching in a nutshell.
6'4", Parker Hutra.
Yeah.
6'5", Carson Preeb. Mac Hewer, 6'5", 265. I mean, you have some absolute beasts coming in handed loose. Hudson Luce, is the left-handed pitcher. He's 6'7", 210.
Yeah, that's the guy with Big Huddy. Yeah.
Just have some absolute. Max Huffling, 6'9", left-handed pitcher.
6'9",
255. His fifth year.
Yeah.
Fifth year in college baseball, first year at Tech.
And he's left-handed.
Appeared in. This is the ACU kid.
Yeah.
Appeared in 21 games for the Wildcats, including a couple against Texas Tech. And he had 5 no-hit innings in a rain-delayed game against Texas Tech. You came back and won that game, but not off Mac. Not off of him. Max Huffling. So. You think, right? You think that the pitching staff can be pretty good. I like Ryan Free in his position. If he can be the rubber arm, reliever and get a couple of innings a weekend, if he can be Brennan Beckel and pitch Friday and Sunday or whenever you need to close, if you can get that kind of performance from somebody this year, I think you have fourth or better opportunity. The lineup will be the lineup. I think the lineup will be good.
The lineup's going to be fine.
Pitching, you have to have some guys step up, and I think you have the right mix here of transfers in, starters that have been here with like Kyle Robinson, and a good mix. So Robinson, Zane Petty. It was Robinson, Zane Petty, and Jack Washburn starting this
weekend.
So, and that was from Don Williams.
And that's probably straight from Tim Tadlock's lips. So
I'm sure.
Yeah. So
infield or the outfield here.
We can start with the infield. You start behind the plate.
All right, behind the plate. Third baseman last year because of some injuries, kind of got forced into action. He was going to be a major starter behind the plate. Hudson White leaves to Arkansas. Yeah. Your third baseman last year, Kevin Bazell, will be the starter. And you also have Dylan Maxey, who played a bunch of games last year, every Saturday game really in the Big 12. Yeah. So that's a pretty good 1-2 punch. That might be the best 1-2 punch at catcher you've had in a long while.
Definitely that you've had in a while. And Bazell, he's one of the guys that Baseball America, D1 Baseball, a lot of these guys are high on Kevin Bizzell, and especially in a draft year because he's draft eligible this year too, just being a sophomore. But he's one of those guys that they have some people in their draft boards have him as a first round pick. So they're expecting big things out of Kevin Bizzell.
Preseason All-American.
Yeah, preseason All-American. I think he's got a really, really good chance to be one of the best catchers in the conference.
Or maybe it's a Golden Spikes award list.
Yeah, Golden Spikes award list. Yeah.
Him and Gavin Cash are
on the watch list.
Yeah.
With 24 other names, I believe. So throughout the country. But yeah, Kevin Bizzell's a guy that you really got to watch this year. I think he's going to have a really good year, a chance to be a first team All Big 12 guy, and lead you offensively along with Gavin Cash. So, and then Dylan Maxey started 20 plus games last year for you. So, a lot of experience behind the dish. And for those that think that Bizzell's being moved from a third baseman to a catcher, he was a catcher before he was a third baseman. So catcher is his natural position. It may not be what he plays at the pro level. He may play third base at the pro level. I don't know. I don't know what his catching style translates to. He caught a lot this summer in his collegiate league. So that's good. But yeah, Kevin Bizzell is going to be really good behind the plate. And then whenever he needs a respite, he can DH or he'd just get a day off and Dylan Maxey can fill in. So it's a good 1-2 punch.
Don't want to take Bizzell out of the lineup. I wonder how much Maxey will play. You played Maxey a ton last year, but you didn't, you just didn't play Hudson White when Maxey was in it. It wasn't like Hudson White was the DH. Maybe toward the end of the year, you did a little bit of that.
Yep.
I wonder if Bizzell is, I don't want to say good enough because Hudson White was one of your best bats last year. He just didn't play a bunch of games down the stretch because he wasn't the starting catcher that day. I wonder if Bizzell gets all the at-bats and is the DH every time he's not catching, or if he gets some true days off.
I'm sure he'll get a day off here and there, like in a midweek.
Padlock really, really likes to get his catcher's days off. Nobody else really. Nobody else.
Right. Yeah. Nobody else gets days off. Yeah.
But the catcher does for sure. Now he'll mess with the lineup, especially in the middle infield and the outfield. He'll spread some guys around, but like Gavin Cash is going to play every game.
Yeah. Gavin Cash is an everyday guy. He'll play first base every day. Yeah. You don't take 26 home runs and 80 plus RBIs out of the lineup from a year ago.
And that is the next position if we're going around, I guess. The first baseman, I mean, what can you say? 26 home runs, 84 RBIs. You just said it. Led the Big 12.
Big 12 preseason teamer.
Yeah.
On the Big 12 preseason team.
That's probably the easiest position. Bizzell and
catcher and first base are the easiest positions to predict because it's going to be Bizzell and Cash. And then center field, Gage Harrelson. Those are the three positions that are locked in.
Let's skip the middle infield now because I think
that's where there's a lot of conversation. Yeah,
I think third base is another position that's pretty well locked in. Cade McGee.
Yeah, Cade McGee.
He comes in as the guy at third base. Did it at Gonzaga. Was the 2022 WAC Freshman of the Year. And had a really strong freshman season and pretty damn good 20 games as a sophomore before he got injured.
Yeah.
Comes in as a third-year player here at Texas Tech. Will be the third baseman. Now, Travis Sanders and probably anybody else in the middle infield can probably play third as well. We know Kevin Bizzell can play third. So if it's not getting done, you'll see a bunch of faces there at third base, but I have faith in Cade McGee that he'll be the guy this year. And that's a position at Texas Tech that really has some pedigree over the last several seasons. Bizzell last year, you think back to Hunter Hargrove's Big 12 Player of the Year season that he had to share with a TCU player. That was at third base. And then obviously Josh Young, third baseman. You could go back further than that if you wanted to, but in the Tadlock era, third base has been pretty important to Texas Tech, hitting wise and defensively. So that's a big position there for Cade McGee to step into.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think Caden McGee, with the experience that he brings, he's played third base in Lubbock too. When Gonzaga came here his sophomore year, he was able to play here. So,
I
and
guess he liked
obviously, yeah, I guess he liked it enough to come back. But no, I think he's gonna be a really good player. He's good with the glove. Um, he's he's a kid that will swing it pretty well at the plate too. It'll be interesting to see how he does this year, coming off of an injury from last year. Obviously, not getting a full season under his belt. But I do believe he played some in the summer. He played for his collegiate league team this summer. So,
hold on. We got some breaking news here. Not in a good way. Apparently there's shots fired at the Chiefs parade.
uh-oh.
There's a large scale emergency response to the Chiefs parade. Hope everything's all right over there.
The
Chiefs Super Bowl.
the way our world is today, it's not surprising.
No, but that's obviously we have the players there, but there's thousands of fans,
thousands of fans, children
packed into a really small area.
Yeah, it's not like you can run away with that many people. And then you start mass chaos, it gets even worse. But
so hopefully, I mean, obviously I don't know anything about it. I just saw it there across the timeline. So it's kind of a ripcord to pull and then get back into baseball. But thoughts and prayers to the parade goes there. I wish I had more information. I probably shouldn't have even brought it up, but man, that caught me off guard there. All right, so let's go to the middle infield. You said Pompey earlier, and I cut you off. If you want to speak to him, he is highly regarded.
Yeah,
and you had a true freshman there. Two true freshmen play, I think, all the games at shortstop last year, and both should have been in high school, by the way. Burns,
and Tracer Lopez and Will Burns,
but I believe Lopez will move to second.
Yep.
Austin Green, who is a returner, will move to a corner outfield position, which we'll talk about in a second. I'm pretty confident that the second baseman will be Tracer Lopez. I think he earned a spot last year with his play. But Will Burns, Travis Sanders, and Pompey all looking for time here in the middle infield, and they're at shortstop. I think they'll all play this year. But I think Pompey has done enough to win the job there at shortstop.
Yeah. TJ Pompey is a kid that, I mean, he's a top 100 national recruit. He's the best shortstop in the state of Texas in this last recruiting class. He's a kid that had the ability to be drafted pretty high if he wouldn't have told scouts that he's going to school. So he wasn't drafted as high as he probably would have been had he not dictated that he was going to go to school. He looks like a professional shortstop. He's 6'4". He looks every bit the part of what you want a good shortstop, what the prototypical guy that Major League Scouts look at. This is what he looks like. TJ Pompey is exactly what they look at. He's going to be a dude who on the offensive side is going to be really good with the stick. He's a gap-to-gap guy. He's got power both ways. I watched him play a little bit in the Perfect Game, one of their little showcase deals, and he can stroke it. He's a kid that at shortstop, he's smooth as butter at shortstop. You'll watch him and be like, man, this guy's good. He's probably going to be your best shortstop since Orlando Garcia as far as fielding wise. He just got every tool that you want.
He had a shortstop win the best shortstop award after that.
Oh yeah, you did. That's right. You had
Cal Conley.
Cal Conley, yeah. Conley was a good shortstop, but I don't know that he was as good at and smooth as Orlando Garcia was at short.
He swung a big stick.
Yeah. Cal Conley swung the bat well.
Is that his name, Cal Conley?
Yeah, Cal Conley.
Right.
Yeah.
From Miami.
He's in the Braves organization. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Cal Conley. Yes.
Cal Conley.
Yes, you're right. You're right. You've been right.
Real name.
Yeah. Conley was he hit the ball well. He wasn't.
But Orlando Garcia, I mean,
smooth fielder.
You've also had Josh Young since then play a bunch of shortstop.
Yeah, I don't count Josh as a shortstop. He's a third baseman. He just had to play shortstop.
But Orlando Garcia, very smooth there, and maybe your best infield with Josh Young, Garcia, or was it Hargrove, Garcia, and
I think Young was
Michael
there one of
Davis?
the years, and
Michael Davis
then
the second.
Michael Davis is second. Yep.
Was that your 2018 infield?
Your
Orlando Garcia,
infield that you
Josh
went
Young?
to and won your first game ever in Omaha,
Oh,
and that was Hargrove, Garcia, Michael Davis up the middle, and then first base was Goot.
and then Hargrove moved over. I guess his player of the year might have come at first base, now that I'm thinking about it, replacing Gutierrez at first.
Yeah, that might have been it. After
Also,
Goot
this
left.
too, that 2017, I think, is what I'm thinking of with Garcia, Young, and the boys and Michael Davis. That's the year you lost, but that could have been your best team. You just kind of got shocked at your own regional.
Yep. Yeah, you lost to Sam Houston State. They just caught lightning in a bottle that weekend in 2017. But yeah, so I think Pompey will probably be your starting shortstop. But I mean, Sanders could slot in there. You could put. I mean, there's a plethora of guys. Burns and Lopez both could end up playing shortstop too. And then Pompey, if he doesn't swing the bat well, or if he struggles a little bit as a freshman, then you might see him in a role, but not that role, like being just the guy at shortstop. So we'll see how that goes. Austin Green can also play up the middle at either one of the positions. So
I'd rather
probably second base is where he would slot in if he were to slot in there, but he'll be in the outfield, I would think.
I'd rather not see
Austin Green will slot in.
I think if Austin Green is back at second base, a lot of things have happened.
Well, I think that's what I mean.
You have so many infielders. And
you have so many options. Yeah.
He was a great hitter last year. Maybe your most consistent.
Yeah.
But defensively, he
a liability.
did not wow.
Yeah. So, so I think what your starting lineup will be in game one against Tennessee, it'll be Pompey at short, and it's hard to say either Will Burns or Tracer Lopez at second base. That's what it'll look like to me, with Cade McGee at third base and Gavin Cash at first. That's your infield in game number one against Tennessee on the 16th. So 2 days, Friday.
2 days, Friday. All right, let's move to the outfield. Nolan Hester is gone.
Gone.
An incredible leadoff man last year.
Yeah.
Who do you think will play in left field? I've got a breakout candidate. Drew Woodcocks.
I was going to say, I know who that is.
You also have just some guys that can play outfield. All right, I'm just going to list some names. Owen Washburn has played a lot of right field. Drew Woodcocks has played a lot, at least some in the last 3 seasons, I believe. I think his second year he was at Rice, and then he left and came back.
Yep.
Damian Bravo listed as utility, but had some home runs there early. I think his first at bat ever as a Red Raider was a home run.
Mm-hmm.
We know Austin Green is going to be out there. You have a bunch of freshmen on the roster that can play in the outfield. According to Justin Apodaca, he says Will Burns has taken some significant reps in center field.
And he probably should, because if Tracer Lopez is going to be your second baseman, Burns does have a good bat. So if you want to find a way to put him in the lineup, he's going to play in the outfield.
And Harrelson can certainly play left or right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you go Harrelson, Burns, Washburn in right, or Bravo in right, certainly not slapping the cat at that.
Right. And then you also, if Bravo is swinging it well, the DH role is up for grabs for a guy like him that has power, just raw power. You could also see Washburn in the DH role as well, and putting another guy in the outfield. So, and then you also have the freshman in Davis Rivers that people are thinking is going to have a good true freshman year. He's from Waller. He's slotted in as one of the top candidates for an outfielder DH role as well. So,
or Austin Green could honestly,
or Austin Green. Yeah, exactly. So
go play DH.
There's a plethora of options here in the outfield that I think, and obviously last year Dylan Carter had a phenomenal year, and then he got hurt. So you had to figure out like what your outfield was going to look like. And Hester stepped up in a big way to fill the role in center when Dylan Carter went out.
Harrelson, yeah.
Harrelson. That's what I meant. And and Hester was just great at the top of the lineup.
Yep.
So you're going to have to fill that role as just a leadoff man and a quality outfielder as well. And then, but I think that in getting Washburn back and healthy is big. If he can have a year at the plate like he did 2 years ago, I think you'll be pretty happy with what you can get from Owen Washburn. So there's plenty of options, but I think that Drew Woodcox is going to have a good year too. I think that he's done a lot. He's put in the work. He got better at the plate last year, especially late in the year. He was a kind of a guy you could count on, right? Like when he came to the dish, you thought Drew Woodcox was going to get on base with Vuletich and all those guys that played well towards the end of the year. So and losing a guy like a Vuletich and Hester, those are two shoes that you have to fill in this lineup. So for a guy like Drew Woodcox, it is time to step up and start being a guy that you can count on, especially if he's hitting in the bottom of the order or at the top of the order. So, I think Drew Woodcox could have a really good year. I think Gage Harrelson's going to be solid in center. He's going to be a solid guy in your lineup. Getting on base, finding ways to get on base. He's just kind of a Tim Tadlock guy, right? He's not this overpowering, just monster looking dude. He's just a guy that does the things the right way, sits in the grease, wallows in the mud, however you want to say, whatever Tim Tadlock, analogy you want to do. Gage Harrelson fits that mold. Owen Washburn's another guy that, he doesn't, I don't know that he even wears batting gloves when he hits Owen Washburn. So he's a guy that you love to watch and see too. So I hope he has a good year coming back off that injury from last year. But yeah, I think like the middle infield, there's a plethora of options in the outfield. And really, Gage Harrelson, he's slotted in at center field right now, but he could easily move over to left if you wanted to make room for somebody else in center, like you said. So it'll be interesting to see what you do with the outfield.
I think Austin Green, you could probably lock in as an outfielder.
In the lineup, yeah.
In the lineup for sure. I think you lock in Gage Harrelson in the field.
Yeah.
And then I think Owen Washburn, as much as he struggled to start last year, he was really getting hot before his elbow,
before his
positions from the back of his arm to the front of his arm.
Yeah, that was not fun to watch.
So, and he was such a clubhouse guy down the stretch. By the way, you mentioning Zach Vuletich, I think if you asked me to name the top 10 batters last year, I don't think I would have said his name. But the last couple of seasons, yeah, absolutely. He hit 388. I just looked him up.
Yeah.
Is he just retired from baseball? Is he trying to play anywhere? Do you know?
I don't know if he's trying to play pro ball anywhere, but he's out of eligibility. I know that.
Yeah, he played in the summer league. I'm looking it up here. I played in the summer league this year. So
guys that have graduated or that are done in their college careers, and if they don't get drafted, they can go and play in like the Cape Cod League and all that stuff and get in front of scouts, and they can get signed from the Cape Cod League.
Yeah. He played in the MLB Draft League, which I've never
heard.
Right.
So that's another option now, which is the MLB Draft League is 4 guys specifically. They just put that in the last collective bargaining agreement, much like a few of these independent leagues now, like the Frontier League, the American Association, a couple other leagues that were just independent leagues now are affiliated independent leagues with Major League Baseball. They're not affiliated with teams, but Major League Baseball pours some money into these independent leagues, which then facilitates guys to be able to come in, and it makes it a little bit easier for Major League teams to see what's going on. Major League Baseball has scouts. Like whenever I played independent baseball, our head coach was a Major League scout. And most managers in independent ball are scouts for Major League clubs. Like ours was a scout for the Marlins. So a lot of guys that if you played well, then you got picked up by the Marlins or signed by the Marlins or one of his good buddies that he's a scout with at the New York Yankees, who was always there. A few of our guys got signed by the Yankees. So, and the Royals, a couple guys. So that's how that stuff works. And a guy like Vuletich, he'll go play in that that Major League Baseball Summer League, the rookie league, and then if he doesn't get signed, then he'll probably go play for an independent team. And then if you play well in independent ball, then you can get moved up and signed by an affiliated team.
All right, any thoughts on Texas Tech baseball we didn't get to? I've got a couple of football thoughts before we wrap up completely, but
just that, I think that we talked about with the pitching, there's a lot of arms, there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of, productivity that's there that I think you can get really good stuff out of. I expect a big year from Kyle Robinson. I think he's there now. Last year, he figured it out at the end of the year in the regional. He was a stud. I think he's going to be really good. I think Zane Petty makes a big stride this year. If you want to win a Big 12 championship, if you want to get back to Omaha, those two guys have to be really good all season long. And I say all season. I mean conference play. Moving towards the end of the year is when you have to have your Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like last year, your Friday, Saturday, Sunday was kind of an evolving door. It felt like at times last year because you thought that a couple guys were going to be your guys and then they weren't. And so you had to figure it out as the season went on. I just want to have some continuity in the front end of this rotation, especially on Friday and Saturday nights. You've got to be really good, set a tone on Friday night, and then keep that tone on Saturday. Win series the first 2 days, right? So then you don't have to just piece something together on a Sunday. Hold serve at home, and it's not the easiest schedule in America, that's for sure. I mean, you're playing a bunch of talented ball clubs on this team this year. I mean, it doesn't get very easy for Texas Tech because you start with Tennessee, and then the conference slate is tough, as we talked about, and you have Oregon State, Tennessee, Nebraska, and Oregon all in the first week and a half of the season. So you're playing a bunch of perennial teams in the last few years that have been really tough ball clubs. Yep. UTA is not a pushover either. They've been a good team in the WAC. So the schedule is pretty tough to start the year. Then you come back your first 2 series. You should be able to sweep your first 2 series at home against Texas Southern and Gardner-Webb. But, it'll be interesting to see. And then, you start off with Texas in conference play in Lubbock, probably the last time that you'll see Texas in Lubbock for a very long time.
Yeah, we got an update on that today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did not. I heard about it, didn't see it.
Let me get back to it.
Some rumblings.
This is from your friend Chip Brown.
There we go.
Asked if Texas will play any Big 12 teams in football going forward, and I'm assuming this is reflective in every sport. Texas AD Cristobal Conte said it will depend on if the SEC plays an 8 or 9 game league schedule, adding it might come down to if any Big 12 schools would be willing to play in Austin only, as opposed to home and home. Just for what it's worth, a comment from a Texas fan. It was reported by others on Monday that there would be no football or basketball games against former Big 12 teams because of the way they treated Texas on the way out. Yeah. Shut up.
Cry about it.
Yeah, we didn't treat you any different than we have.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't think you'll play Texas ever again. I think this is your last hurrah, and it will be in Lubbock. The last time they were in Lubbock, is this true? The last time they were in Lubbock was the double walk-off, Kurt Wilson? Yes.
Was that Texas or Oklahoma State?
That was Texas.
Yeah, it was Texas. Yeah.
I think you went. Oklahoma State was the home run.
That's right.
Texas,
that's right. Yeah.
Texas was the slide steal.
Yeah.
With the guy looking down on Friday night, and then on Sunday night, the walk-off grand slam in extra.
Yeah.
But I believe that was the last time they were in Texas. They were in Lubbock, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
That seems like more than 2 years ago.
And then last year you got swept in Austin, and every game was a 1-run game.
Ooh.
Or did you take one of 3? It's hard to remember.
Win on Sunday?
You might have taken one of the 3, but I think you lost the first 2 games by a run.
I watched that Friday night game, I believe, in the bar of the premier movie theater in the mall, drinking vodka Red Bulls and Coors Lights. That's a pretty nice bar over there.
You were Tinta turned up that night then, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was taking them slow. It was a long game. I wasn't hammering them.
We'll
Yeah, you got
see.
swept. Two
Yeah,
to
you got swept.
2-6
Yeah.
on Friday, and
Yeah.
then 5-6, 8-9. Yeah, and
Yeah. So I knew it was 2 1-run games in there somewhere.
But I watched that Friday night one. I think that was, if I remember correctly. Let me look at the box score here. Kevin Bazell might have hit a double and missed second, or hit a home run and missed second.
Oh yeah.
Or hit a home run, thought it was a ground rule double, and then left second base, and he got called out.
Oof.
Wasn't that? I think that was. I think that was the day there. I think something like that happened at the Texas series. All right, that's all I have on baseball. The schedule this weekend looking pretty tough. I just closed it. That you start with Tennessee, and a couple of more big games this weekend, and then you stay at Globe Life for, as you mentioned, UTA and another game, Oregon State, which, as you said, a quality baseball program, at least in the last several seasons. We'll see what they are this year as you play them. But number 9, Tennessee, unranked Nebraska and unranked Oregon, and then number 7, Oregon State on Wednesday in Globe Life. And at that point, you'll have 4 games under your belt and should be warm and hip to the flow and whatever else. I have an update on the Kansas City parade. This is from the Kansas City Police. Shots have been fired around Union Station. Please leave the area. That was 24 minutes ago. Officers are working to clear Union Station itself. Will release everyone inside the building once that is complete. They're still trying to determine the number of shooting victims. And then less than 10 minutes ago, we are releasing everyone from inside Union Station. So there are multiple victims around Union Station at the Kansas City parade. So again, it's a difficult situation, and you're just kind of afraid to go to big settings now. It didn't used to be that way, but it certainly is turning that way. A couple of more notes in the football world. First, the combine, which will be later this month, at the end of this month, early next month, whenever it is. Miles
It's
Cole,
the end of February, right?
Miles Cole, Tyler Owens, and Dadrian Taylor Demerson. If one guy gets drafted, it's Rabbit. If 2 guys gets drafted, it's Rabbit and Miles Cole.
Yeah.
Miles Cole might go to the combine and have a Tyree Wilson-esque surge, but Tyree Wilson started higher to surge to the top 10. Miles Cole, I don't think, did enough this year on tape to warrant a top draft pick, but his measurables measure as a top draft pick. So it'll be interesting to see what teams do with Miles Cole and Rabbit. Honestly, who had a great Senior Bowl, and I think has moved up some draft boards just because of that.
Yeah. All the things that you saw out of the Senior Bowl with Miles Cole and Rabbit both improving their stock, both of them. Rabbit improved his stock even before the game even started. A lot of publications, a lot of the scouts there said he was the best defensive back at the East-West Shrine Bowl. Wasn't he in the Shrine Bowl? Is that the one he played in at Little Jerry World?
Yep.
At the Star in Frisco. So, yeah, Rabbit did a great job for himself, made a name for himself there. And then Miles Cole, I think just his length and size jump off the chart for everybody for Miles Cole. It's the ability that he can have under, in the NFL, he's going to get really, I'm not saying you're not getting really good coaching here at Texas Tech, but you're getting like just better position coaching, more hands, more one-on-ones.
It's your whole job. You don't have to go to class.
Right, exactly. So he's just going to get better, and he has the everything, the length as far as what he can do to get off of blocks, the arm reach that they look at, the length and height and build and physicality. Miles Cole has everything you want in a good defensive end in the NFL these days, the speed as well. So I think a team will take a chance on Miles Cole in this draft. I
And
truly believe that.
he might play inside more like Chris Jones.
He could. He very easily could. If they put some weight on him, beef him up a little bit, and he does have the intangibles to be an inside guy, especially in a 3-4 scheme, 3-man front scheme.
He's 6'6", 280. Just for
what's his wingspan? Does it have it on there?
I remember from last year, it's an inch longer than Tyree Wilson.
Than Tyree Wilson. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Tyree set the record last year.
Right.
So
Miles Cole's about to set the record this year.
Chris Jones, 6'6", 310.
There you go.
So there you go. And we'll see at the combine what his measurables are.
Yeah.
I wonder if since he skipped the bowl, I wonder if he's put on some weight since the end of the season.
He probably has.
Just to plan for that.
Yeah.
All right. Another bit of business. Cliff Kingsbury has hired a run game coordinator. You want to take a guess? Have you seen it?
I've not seen it.
Just guess who Cliff the Red Raider would hire as a run game coordinator in the NFL.
A run game coordinator in the NFL, Cliff, a Red Raider. You make me think that it's like a former Red Raider that he hired as a run game coordinator.
Former NFL head coach.
Anthony Lynn.
Anthony Lynn, who has worked most famously with CMC the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Hard to be bad as a running backs coach with CMC. What?
It's my Twitter pictures, me with Anthony Lynn. The last time we got to see him. So Anthony, another really good human being, first of all. I hated that he didn't have the success that the Chargers wanted him to have. But obviously that job, nobody's had the success that even he had whenever he was in Los Angeles with the Chargers. But yeah, happy for him to be moving back, this time being with Cliff, 2 Texas Tech guys. Washington's a tough job, so we'll see what happens. They've got a chance to get better in this draft. See what they do.
Apparently, Anthony Lynn was heavily pursued by Washington last year, and he declined. I guess to work with Eric Bieniemy, but accepted to work with Cliff. So, Red Raiders stick together.
Red Raiders stick together all the time, every day.
Final note. Chris Level on the Locked On Texas Tech podcast said there were 2 finalists, allegedly, for the offensive line coaching job. And surprise, surprise, both heavily tied to Texas Tech. One of them has a 1-0 record as the head coach at the Texas Tech Red Raider level. Chris Thompson, who beat Michigan State in the Alamo Bowl, I believe.
Yep, Alamo Bowl.
And then Clay McGuire, who I think played at Texas Tech, was
Ruffin was the acting head coach in the Alamo Bowl against Michigan State.
Oh, that's right. Chris Thompson must have been with Tubby.
Texas Bowl.
I must have been the Tubby left. And he took over.
Texas Bowl win with
that's right.
Seth Dagey as the quarterback. Yeah.
That's right.
No. Yeah, Seth Dagey. Yeah.
So Chris and Clay, both former Red Raider coaches. Of course, Clay McGuire, longtime Mike Leach assistant, is back at Washington State, was also at USC for a couple of years, has the pedigree. I think I would prefer Chris Thompson. I think he's at Florida State right now. Both would be fine. It's still just such a weird job search this point in the season. But if those are the 2 names you're landing on, I like stealing from Florida State more than I like stealing from Washington State. And that could be just name bias, front of the jersey bias from me. But it seems like a bigger get to get the Florida State guy out of Florida State.
Yeah, I would agree. Washington State was pretty good last year on the offensive line, too. Of course, you have a really good quarterback in Cameron Ward, so that helps a lot with the offensive line play. But I thought Florida State's offensive line was pretty solid last year too, even though they had Jordan Travis for most of the year. But yeah, and either way you go, those two guys you can't really miss. I don't think on either one of those two guys. Two really good options, and two options that know what it takes here to win in Lubbock. And how to recruit.
I think so. Of course, how to win. If you're with Tommy Tuberville, I don't know that you really have a way to win.
They got to a bowl game.
They certainly did. And then Tommy left through the window, and Chris took us to the promised land.
Tommy Tuberville was the undoing of 50-yard line. He ruined 50-yard line for everybody. Nobody wanted to go in there afterwards. That's why it's closed now.
Yep. Blame Tommy.
Blueberry muffins and cheese rolls, man. Best things in the world. Gone.
Those blueberry muffins, man. I don't think anybody's done better since.
My wife knows how to make them, and I mean they are. If they're not spot on, they're pretty close to spot on.
The mini muffins, because they were small.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
She made me go buy it just so we can make the muffins from 50-yard line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Since they closed, you can't get them anymore. So we would go in there and just eat a full basket of that. You get the French onion soup and the cheese rolls when you sit down. Even before you get your meal, you're filled up on cheese rolls, French onion soup, and salad.
Yep.
I could just do that and then eat the muffins, and I'd have a great meal. I don't even need the steak.
You get the steak though.
Yeah, the steak is great. You're right. A lot of good memories from my childhood happened at 50-yard line growing up, with my dad being in the sports information office, and a bunch of tech outings were at the 50-yard line. A lot of good time spent with Jack Dell and all those great fine folks.
Have you been to the new and improved Brian Steakhouse?
I have not yet. The lines have been so long. I went by there the other day thinking I'm going to go in there for lunch. The line was so long.
Everybody's getting towed too, because they're parking
because they're parking. Yeah, there's no parking. Yeah. That was another good
memory
from
it'll calm down
the days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can take a card in there now. You used to cash only.
Yeah, it used to be just cash only. Yeah.
Cash
That's why my grandpa loved it. We'd go play golf at Meadowbrook during the summer. He'd take us to play golf, and then afterwards we go to Brian's Steakhouse and eat lunch.
Oh yeah.
$5. You can get a steak and salad for like $5 at lunch in the early 1990s.
The salad bar in Lubbock.
Oh my, yeah, no doubt.
Something about it. All right. Speaking
that open flame grill, man, you can't go wrong.
Well, they did go wrong. And they burned down the place.
Too soon. It's rebuilt, man. Brian Steakhouse is not advertising with us in the near future.
They rebuilt it. No. You build it, they will come. But they nearly did burn down the whole place. Yeah.
Oh man.
Stepped into that one.
You did.
All right.
It was a really beefy joke.
That's all I got. You got anything else?
No, it's a good way to end it right there. Yeah.
All right. Home runs this weekend for Texas Tech and Globe Life.
Ooh. Set a 3-game set.
Ooh, let's go all 5 games and say 6.5. Ooh, that's probably a high
under.
Let's go 5.5. You get at least 1 a game.
I'll take the over on that.
Okay. Hey, I
think Gavin Cash hits a couple.
You obviously have the Baz bomb.
Yeah.
Who can put it out, depending on who else is playing. You got guys can do it.
Owen Washburn's got good power.
Yep.
So, yeah, I like your chances.
All right. Home run leader, I guess we're on Gavin Cash for the field.
For the season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to hit 26 again, just because they'll try and pitch around him more, depending on what the lineup looks like around him.
Walks will go way up.
Yeah, they should.
Hopefully. That's what Jace Young did, but Jace Young was even better in his second year. Of course, the COVID year doesn't really count. So it was his first season, but it's on base way more in his third season, I guess, technically.
Yep.
All right. Just this weekend, what does the team go with Nebraska Oregon and Tennessee.
I'm going to say 2-1. You probably lose to Tennessee. You beat Nebraska and you beat Oregon.
I like that. I don't think you've gone 2-1 yet at this particular. Now, this is technically not what has been at Globe Life
Houston.
in the past.
Yeah.
This is technically the Shriners College Classic, which has also been
Has
in
been
Houston.
at Houston. Yeah.
But the State Farm College Showdown, I think, is what it was in the past.
Yeah, last year and the year before.
You were 1-5 in 2 trips.
Yeah.
So, and I was there for all of it. Oops. And then
maybe they'll be better that you're not going to be there this year.
So hopefully they do better. I'll take 2-1 as well. I think you might beat Tennessee, but if you beat Tennessee, you might drop another one, and that's okay, and you'll move forward. And we'll talk again before the rest of it. Hopefully somebody has Flow Sports and can tell me what's happening. Otherwise, I'll listen on the radio, and I guess it's going to be Jamie Lent.
Jamie and
Gus.
Yep, Jamie and Gus.
Ran into Gus in the bathroom at Globe Life Field. Actually, no, it was at the Shriners last year at Houston.
In Houston, yeah.
Also went to the Shriners last year, and I think they went 1-2 as well.
Yeah, 1-2 last year.
They go 2-1. They lose to Rice, and everyone was freaking out, and then they lost to A&M in like 17 innings.
That was a long game.
Yeah, you're telling me I was there.
Long game. Yeah.
You are telling me.
Yeah, I remember I was texting you the whole time.
Beefy one. All right. Strikeouts. And just this weekend, we'll go complete pitching staff for Texas Tech. Strikeouts tallied. And we'll set the line at a conservative 14.5.
Conservative 14.5. I'll take that.
That's 5 a game.
I'll take the over.
Okay.
I think Kyle Robinson should at least strike out 5, 6, 7. He's got the stuff to do it.
You got the relievers as well.
Tennessee's definitely a free swinging team. They want to hit bombs, so they're going to strike out quite a bit.
Certainly are. All right.
Oregon's a little bit the same in their lineup, so yeah.
I'll take the under in the home runs and the over in the strikeouts. I think it'll be a defensive effort here at Globe Life early in the season. All right, that's all I got. We'll be back on Monday. I'll be out of town on Friday. Of course, Tennessee and Texas Tech will have first pitch at 7 p.m. Friday night. Man, that is frustrating. I'll be in the hotel just sitting around. I'm going to have to listen to it. Maybe I can convince my dad to spend $30 on Flow Sports. He'll be down there with me in Houston. Daniel checking in. We need another young. That would be nice.
You're not wrong.
Josh and Jace back to back. Maybe Gavin Cash can be the third young brother and put together another big season. All right, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got.
On Monday.
We're all rooting for Keegan Davis this weekend.
That's right.
To be a state champ.
Senior season state. Let's see. In his career, 3-time district champion, 2-time regional champion, 1-time regional runner-up, 1-time district runner-up, placed 5th at state his sophomore year, had a rough run with a heavy side of the bracket there in his junior year, but looking to bounce back as a senior. And he's faced a lot of guys that have made it this year and is familiar now with his side of the bracket. I think he can make a run.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's got a chance.
All right. See you Monday.
Peace.